Hi, I'm Judy Dans and welcome to my workroom. I'm going to do a short tutorial today on how to use the Accuquilt Go Cutter Rose of Sharon die. It's a licensed design by Sharon and an excellent companion to Sharon's new book, The Rose of Sharon Block Book. Along with the die comes a free pattern for a 3-block table runner. This is my version of the table runner and was very fun to put together. It allows you to get your feet wet with this die, but yet not embark upon a large-scale project. The die is a small die, so it does not only work with the Go Cutter, but it will work with the new Go Baby. But while small, it is jam-packed with elements to cut. We have 5 flowers, 2 leaves, and 3 circles. And you can just cut a lot of Rose of Sharon elements with just one pass of the die. As often recommended, I have outlined every one of my elements with a Sharpie, but you may notice that I have some additional registration marks. This is when I want to cut scraps of fabric versus whole pieces of fabric. And I'm going to show that in another tutorial. But in today's tutorial, I'm going to focus mostly on running strips of fabric through and cutting elements. Now you may wonder right off, well, why would I want red fabric? I may want red flowers, but why would I want red leaves? Well, in Sharon Pedersen's book, you'll find that many of these elements are multifunctional. That leaves also make excellent buds, and flowers often make excellent flower centers. So you really want, when you're designing your quilt, you're going to want all elements cut in all colors. Now, because I am using a fusible, I also live in the desert. And in the desert, we don't do more fusible than we tend to use. It dries out and it will not stick after some time. So as a result, I'm only going to be fusing the amount of fabric I need to run through the cutter. Now the cutter is 5 1/4 by 10 1/4, but I want to do whole strips. Actually, cutting whole strips from fat quarters is an excellent way to use your fat quarters that you may have chosen for this project. As often recommended the die, it's nice to run the die lengthwise fabric, so I will put my fusible with the selvage. It'll follow the selvage, and once I have my fusible down, I will cut a strip 5 1/4 by whatever my width of fabric was. Now my strip is ready to put on the die and cut. I know you can do up to 6 layers with this die. When I put fusible on, I tend to limit it to 4, simply because it is a very full die and I don't want layers to slip as I'm trying to stack them up, and I get them stacked a little wonky and all of a sudden one of the elements is not cutting correctly. So I kind of stick to 4. The other advantage of having 5 1/4 inch strips, I can more accurately get everything lined up here in a stack because everything's the same width. So I can just run my different strips through, and you can see here where I run a strip through. I can just run my strips through, and then I can move my fabric, and what I haven't cut I can run through again. Or what I like to do is, this is a strip from a fat quarter, and I will lay it down on my die, and right past the last element to be cut, I will fold it. And depending upon whether I need additional large elements or do I need additional small elements, depends on which direction I fold it, whether I fold it over the larger elements or fold it over the smaller ones. Today I'm going to fold it back over the smaller elements, so I get more small elements cut than I do large ones. So now I'm ready to put my mat on and run through the cutter. Now I should note that this small die does have a mat to go with it, but this is a very full die. You are pretty much cutting almost at the edge of both sides. This mat is the exact size of the die. If you happen to get the mat just a teeny bit askew running it through the cutter, you'll have parts of some of the flowers especially that won't cut. So I recommend for this die that you move up one mat size to the slightly larger mat. And that way when you place your mat on the die, you can check, feel, make sure, yes, it overlaps the die everywhere, and we're ready to cut. So now we're going to put the die through the cutter and we will cut our fusible and our fabric. And I tend to sit down with my stack of fat quarters that I want to use for the project, and I'll cut them all at once. Now I will slide it off to the side, especially since I've folded. My fusible makes it slide very easily. And here I have my elements cut. Now where I have folds, I may end up with only a partial element. You do not throw these away. If you do get Sharon Pedersen's book, you will find that these little partial flowers make center bud centers. She's got a couple flowers. She uses one of these to add some circles to and makes a nice multi-layer flower. So you save everything you cut, even your partials. The other thing, the reason why I really like to do my fat quarters is so that I can create a palette of pre-fused elements. This way, when I sit down to design my block, I don't have to worry, do I have enough of this certain color? I can just sit down and play with all my scraps of fabric until I get a block just like I want it to be. So this is my palette, this is my block. It's a very easy die to use and a lot of fun. And in my next tutorial, I'm going to show you how I use the die to cut the teeniest small scraps. So even though this guy looks like he's pretty used, in the next tutorial you're going to see how I use him even more. Thank you so much for visiting my blog and viewing my tutorial.